Yo, what's up, dog? This is Randy Johnson. Thanks for tuning in. It's been a while since I've posted, and the reason why is because I've changed my scoring settings and therefore updated my rankings. This is for all of you who are in a Dynasty league, who care about Dynasty rankings, Dynasty strategy and philosophy, and on-base percentage. That's a big change. Also, quality starts, so that raises the value of our pitchers. And so this is going to be a fun league to talk about, and if you are involved in those types of settings for your league or consider wanting to start a league with those types of settings, then this is the video for you. Let's dig in. All right, so we got some new scoring to talk about in this league, and that is OBP. We have officially changed batting average to OBP. We have switched out wins for quality starts, and we have saves plus holds instead of saves. Now, let's just talk about why this is the best way to do a 5x5 scoring system in 2023. These are your traditional, we love them, we're not doing nothing with them. That's what makes fantasy. On-base percentage is the most important stat for hitters. It is the most correlated with a high WAR for a player. And with that said, with the trend in players focusing more on higher on-base percentages than batting average, a player can be very talented, very good at getting on base, but may have a lower batting average, and he's still super valuable to his team. And so with that emphasis on the game, with it being such a well-known stat anyways, we're switching to on-base percentage. A player like Juan Soto or Mike Trout, they have so many walks that their batting average, even though they both have pretty high batting averages usually, they have less weight on their batting average because of all the plate appearances or at-bats taken away because of the walks. And that is just not something that I like. Those are the best hitters in the game, and I think they should be rewarded. On-base percentage more than rewards them for that skill. Also, and then you have a player like Bobby Witt, who is real-life value is not that high right now as it stands, and he had a decent batting average, didn't kill you in batting average, but he would have killed you in on-base last year. And so I want that to be reflective. Now, pitching. This is where we really level the playing field. So I used to value batters in traditional 5x5 significantly because wins are such a volatile stat. Sandy Alcantara plays for the Marlins, so he's not going to get nearly as much wins as a Tyler Anderson. That is not how fantasy should go. That increases volatility. We remember Jacob deGrom having a 1.74 ERA and frickin' 9 wins, 9 and 10. Remember Felix Hernandez back in the day won a Cy Young with like 12 wins. It's just, I don't want that volatility to be part of the valuing of the devaluing of pitchers, because the way I would see it is with traditional 5x5 scoring for pitchers, ERA, WHIP, strikeouts. A pitcher is a 3.5 category contributor and wins is volatile. So 3 categories, those 3 are definitely on his performance. And then you have wins, and then he cannot contribute in saves, obviously. And I was like, that's really devaluing pitchers, and it makes hitters so much more valuable than pitchers, and I don't like that. And so this will really bring the cream to the top. The best pitchers will be valued the highest throughout the season, barring injury. Now, that's basically the only issue with a pitcher is injuries. Obviously can't affect that, but this really makes them rewarded for their performance as well. That's what it's all about. You still have to, as a fantasy baseball manager, evaluate the best talent. That's the whole job of the fantasy baseball manager. But now you decrease volatility and gives skill more of an advantage. As for saves plus holds, that is an important one because in modern baseball, saves are just, it's pretty much like wins. It's ridiculous. And saves, the 2 closers that get 40 plus saves are super highly valued over everybody else. But let's just check out how this affects the game, shall we? We got saves plus holds leaders, or highest player rater players. You have Class A, Devin Williams, and let's just actually look at the statistical leaders. That'll be easier to see. So we had 42 leader of saves plus holds was Emmanuel Clase. Those were all saves. Next, though, you have Devin Williams, who is basically split down the middle. 26 holds, more holds actually, and 15 saves with the elite ratios. So this was one of the best, most valuable seasons of a reliever. And so with saves plus holds, he will be rewarded accordingly. And then you have Josh Hader, 39, Romano. So this just balances out the reliever market. So basically now you're targeting not who is pitching in the 9th inning for a team, which oftentimes is not even the best relief pitcher that they have. It is who is the best relievers that I can target. And you're not worrying about roles. This is not fantasy baseball, or basketball. This is not fantasy football. Who's starting this week? No, this is who is the best and best players at their jobs. And so that is how we have updated our scoring. Now, I have made some major modifications to my draft board since then, and let's just talk about those real quick. If we get this to load. I had Shohei Ohtani at the end of the first round, and then I moved him up to like 4th behind these young studs. Shohei Ohtani, just look at that. He is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 category contributor at 28 years old. The more I looked at my league, it's 26-man roster, 10 teams, 13 keepers. You're keeping half your team. So you can't keep your whole team year over year. And that places so much more value on the players that are going to be good for the next couple years. There's going to be a lot of turnover in this league, is what I mean, with players. And so Shohei Ohtani, barring injury, for the next 3 years, 28, 29, 30, these are his prime years. And if he is just healthy, you can pretty much guarantee he has the absolute highest, and it's not even close, chances of being the number 1 player in fantasy. He doesn't even have to perform as good as he does, but he's an elite fantasy hitter and an elite fantasy pitcher. I mean, it's Shohei Ohtani and then no one's even close. So my bad on valuing him so much lower because of age. No, absolutely not. He is. I mean, he can get hurt in his pitching elbow and still hit. I mean, or not be able to run and still pitch. Like, this guy, Shohei Ohtani, is head and shoulders the number 1 dynasty asset in any format that allows daily lineups where he can bat and pitch. Second, nothing's changed with Ronald Acuna. Ronald Acuna is going to be fantastic. I believe that the 2021 and previous is the version of Ronald Acuna that you're going to get, barring injury. He's just so good. He's going to be an on-base machine. I think he's just one of the best hitters all around in the league, who's also one of the best base stealers. Ronald Acuna is that dude. Next, Juan Soto. Now, this is where the biggest change in on-base percentage values a player. Juan Soto is so good. In a bad year last year, he still had an on-base of 402 combined. Look at his StatCast page. It's filled in red. Juan Soto is, the only thing is he doesn't run, but I really don't care with how much of a benefit he's going to be to your on-base. And in that lineup for his runs, his RBIs, he's going to have so many plate appearances. This could be a huge, huge, huge year for Juan Soto. He's still only 24. Slam dunk. I will not be complaining if I have the 3rd pick and I land him. Next is Julio Rodriguez. So, bumped him down a couple spots. A lot of people have him as number 1 in Dynasty. But I still have a couple question marks. Right now, his only weakness is his strikeout percentage. But he's 21. He still did amazing things last year. I do not really worry about that. I think he's a slam dunk as well. He's the youngest of this bunch. And he's probably going to be first-round value for maybe the next 10 years. Another one where the on-base percentage really boosts his value, and that's Yordan Alvarez. The reason I picked Rodriguez over Alvarez is only because he steals. Alvarez does not. Yordan Alvarez was about as good as Aaron Judge last year, according to StatCast. Yordan Alvarez is a monster. Okay? And he got injured last year. Before that injury, he was on pace to do probably a 350 home run season. Like, huge, huge talent. I mean, this guy is maybe the best pure hitter. He's probably a left-handed version of Frank Thomas, if you remember him. Yordan Alvarez is so freaking good. He's still young. He plays DH, plays a little outfield. I count on him to bat and produce huge stats. Not going to be complaining if I get him. I consider him a very safe pick right here. Top 5, I'm not complaining. Top 6, this is where you enter a little bit risk. Obviously, Fernando Tatis has the highest risk-reward value of any player in the league. I view Fernando Tatis as could be fantasy MVP. I think his floor is pretty high too. I mean, barring injury. If he's healthy, I think he's going to be right there with the best. If he's not healthy, then that's the only concern that I have with Tatis, really, is his health. Skills-wise, I think he's just ridiculous. Ridiculous. Could be 40-40. A 40-40 player with, once again, in that San Diego lineup. I cannot stress enough how good the counting stats of those top 4 hitters in the San Diego Padres lineup are going to be. It's going to be insane. Now, here's where we have a little bit of a tier drop-off, if you can even call it that, because Vladimir Guerrero Jr. just 2 years ago had an amazing season, an all-time season for a player of his age at that year. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. in a down year still hit 32 homers, 97 RBIs, 90 runs. As you can see, Rogers Center is getting a little bit smaller this year, so that should give him a little boost in his power. He's still so young. His contact is ridiculous. Plate discipline, I'm not worried about Vladdy. He's a beast. And then you have Kyle Tucker. I rank Kyle Tucker right here. I don't have a problem with drafting him. I don't mind getting the 8th pick. This first round in this Dynasty format is so deep. I mean, I am not complaining about any of these players at all. I love all of them. Kyle Tucker, he's 26 years old. Last year, there's a little case to be made for Kyle Tucker. If you look at his StatCast, his Baseball Savant page, you're going to see some good stuff. Namely, look at his 2021. It was ridiculous. Look at all that red right there. So he's not elite, he's just elite. He doesn't really have any holes in his game. Don't let the sprint speed fool you. As you can see, he's gone from 38th percentile to 72nd to 69 to 59 to 31. It's not like he lost half of his speed in 2 years. I just don't believe that. I think he picks his spots of when to run max effort. He's one of those players. And that's why I think when he's running on a stolen base, he's getting to that 70th percentile gear. I think he's fast. So I don't worry about Kyle Tucker's speed as much as some might by seeing that. I still think he's going to be a threat for stolen bases is my point, basically. Now, you look at 2021, his StatCast batting, it was ridiculous. It was 303 expected batting average, 576 expected slug, 383 WOBA, 396 expected WOBA. Okay, look at his strikeout rate. It's down to 15%. That is tremendous. Okay, 85th percentile. His walk rate is 67. So he's got plate discipline. He doesn't strike out. He's young. He's got tons of power. His max exit velo, 75th percentile, in a stacked lineup, and there's no shift. If you look at last year, he struggled versus the shift. Right here, with the shift, 336 WOBA. Without the shift, 463 WOBA. So there you have it, and he was shifted on in 90% of his plate appearances. Now the year before that was completely reversed. So I expect something in between these two outcomes versus the shift. But there's no shift this year, or a different variation of the shift. Can't completely rule it out. I think Kyle Tucker's an absolute beast. He's going to give you 5 category beastly production. I think last year was a down year. I think he'll definitely improve on last year's numbers. Kyle Tucker. I love me some Kyle Tucker. Next, we have Rafael Devers. This is kind of not the most sexy pick, especially because of the lackluster accounting stats he produced last year. But those are volatile year to year. You look at this. You look at the triple slash and the power. He's not going to steal bases, but Devers is an elite contact hitter, just a very safe hitter in his mid-20s, and the lineup will probably improve, especially in years to come. This is Dynasty, so I don't have any worries about Devers. I think it's kind of a boring pick, but just a safe pick, locking up the premium position of third base, which is very tough to secure. And last but not least, in the first round, I got Aaron Judge. So, I've bumped Aaron Judge all the way up from like mid-second round to into the first round. If this is redraft, he's most likely the number 1 ranked player. He's only 30. He's been healthy the last 2 years. You just gotta love the upside. I mean, especially in the on base, he's gonna have that close to 400 on base percentage, league leading power, a handful of steals. He's still fast. He's still athletic. And even beyond the 3 years of Dynasty that you kind of project for, he could be like a Nelson Cruz, bombing out 40 homers annually. Just because he hits the ball so hard, he makes enough contact, and he hits it in the air now. That was the difference last year. I don't see that changing, especially with how successful he was with it. I don't see him changing his approach one bit. Aaron Judge he could deliver first overall value again this year. And just having that alone is so valuable in this type of format of a league where it's all about win now. Let's be honest. You want to win now or you want to win next year, but you don't really want to go in a long rebuild. That's kind of sticky. You want to win now and figure it out from there. You got to be aggressive in this type of format, in my opinion, for sure. So that rounds out my top 10, and then that pushes Trey Turner into the second round and Jose Ramirez. So these are top 5 Roto standard players in any redraft format. I'm not complaining if I get Trey Turner. He could explode for stolen bases. He's still 99th percentile sprint speed. His on base is not elite, but for his career, it's over 350. So I'm not worried about Trey Turner. Jose Ramirez, there's no holes in his game. I just like Aaron Judge better than those two. And then I like the youth of all these players in front of these two. That's the only gripe I have with these players, why they're in the second round. But you give me the last pick in the first round, and I can scoop up a Judge and a Turner or a Judge and Ramirez locking up outfield or getting an outfielder and locking up third base. That's a fantastic start to the draft. I'll take that all day. I really love this board because there's so many good players that regardless of where you pick, you're going to get someone you like in this format for sure. And then up next, you're going to have a little teardrop off. Granted, if he performs like he did last year, you're getting first round value out of Sandy Alcantara. Pitchers are obviously harder because of injury risk, but Alcantara, especially taking out the win factor, he's just that dude. He's going to give you a ton of innings. His ERA is going to have a ton of weight because of his innings. This is a conservative projection for him, by the way. Sandy Alcantara is nasty, and I can see him definitely outperforming those numbers. I mean, look at how conservative that is. They got him for a full run higher than last year. So for Dynasty, he's 27. Give me some Sandy Alcantara. You got Austin Riley. He moved up in front of Bo Bichette. I just think third base is more important than shortstop to lock up. He's going to give you elite power production, legitimate 4-category contribution, kind of another like boring pick, kind of like Devers. I don't see much difference between Devers and Austin Riley. I'm comfortable taking him there. Bo Bichette, I'm going to bet on the youth. There's a report that he's going to be running more. It's going to be easier to steal bases, so if he's aggressive, running more. His on-base is not elite. His batting average definitely is better than his on-base, but he's just going to give you solid category contribution in all 5 categories. Not the greatest quality of contact, but lineup context. Roger Setter becoming a little more friendly. I'm all in on Bo Bichette right there. He's young, one of the younger players in this round, the second round, so give me some Bo Bichette. Next, you have Mookie Betts. Mookie Betts is just steady as they come. He's going to produce huge counting stats. Last year set a career high in home runs, good on base, no really holes in his game. He's still fast, still steal you a handful of bases. Probably not going to be a 20-plus stolen base guy anymore. That's all good. But he's just steady. These are the types of players that age well. I'm not worried about Mookie Betts. In a stacked lineup, will probably get even better as the years go by. The lineup, that is. Not worried about Mookie Betts there. Now, Bobby Witt, this is where you get really, this is like their biggest risk-reward type. But even then, if he was a rookie and if he performs the way he did as a rookie in his second year, which he might take a step back, players do that. But with the power-speed combination, that kind of gives him a floor to where he'll at least give you value, a la an Adolis Garcia type of player. I mean, the 20-20 is valuable, but he has the potential for 25-40 or more. Like, the sky's the limit. This guy is like the 3rd fastest player in the Major League Baseball. combined with premium lineup spot, good runs and RBIs. I mean, he's just a beast. He's not going to be at risk for playing time. And he's still only in his second year, so you expect him to figure it out and just be tremendous. Manny Machado, I just get bored out by all these third basemen, but they just give you that solid 4-category contribution. Machado, his steals are kind of volatile. If he gives you 10, great. If not, whatever. Good on base. Once again, one of those Padres is the third Padre in a fantasy draft that is ranked in the top 18. So that tells you all you need to know. He's a beast. Next, we have Pete Alonso, who's just one of the premier power hitters in the game. Now home runs are more valuable. And so with home runs being more valuable in this environment, the players that hit the ball the hardest, a la Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, Kyle Schwarber, Pete Alonso, they're going to give you tons more. Their home runs are going to be worth more than they were in the juice ball era because they're still going to be there, as you see last year. This dude put up 40 and 130 last year. I mean, Pete Alonso was darn near a league winner for me. Had a tremendous September, helped me in the playoffs. Pete Alonso is that dude. And he's not going to kill you in batting average or on base. Solid, just solid across the board with elite 2-category production right there. And he's going to have runs in that stacked lineup, so that's great as well. Then we have our second pitcher on the board, Corbin Burnes. Corbin Burnes has the potential to be SP number 1, numero uno. He's still only 28 years old. Just no really risks with him. He's been healthy. Corbin Burnes. Sign me up for some Corbin Burnes. He could finish just in the top 10 in the player rater easily. Then you have Garrett Cole, who's kind of similar to Corbin Burnes. He's older. Not really concerned for me with starting pitchers. He's in his early 30s. Corbin Burnes is a beast. Garrett Cole's a beast. I expect his ERA to get better from last year. His strikeout numbers are just ridiculous every year. That's what I love him. It kind of gives you a better floor. At least he'll give you strikeouts, even if they get blown up once in a while. Not worried about the wins. He pitches innings. Obviously, these are 200-inning starting pitchers. That's why they're in the top 3. And he'll give you a good whip. So if he gets improvement from the home runs allowed, you'll expect deeper starts and better ERA. So sign me up for some Garrett Cole. Not a problem with that. Here you have a couple aged players. Mike Trout's not really aged. Freddie Freeman is older. He finished 3rd in this format last year on the entire player rater. He is probably not going to give you that 30-plus home runs. Doesn't matter because he's a 400 on-base percentage player. Gives you a handful of steals and 4-category star production, at least for this year. You do worry about him because he's getting up there. He is now 33. He'll turn 34 at the end of this year. So 33, 34, 35. You do worry about that, but you look at Jose Abreu, he's at that 36 age, and he was just killing it. Players like Freddie Freeman, you kind of just trust because they're just gamers. They're just ballers. Mike Trout, the only reason he's this low is because of injury risk. He simply has not played a full season in like 6 years. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, the last full year he played 150 games was 2016. If you could guarantee him 150 games, there's a chance he's the number 1 pick. Mike Trout is still that dude. His power per game, his home runs per game is ridiculous. It's at like a 50 home run pace per full season in the last like 5 years. He doesn't run anymore. He could because he's still super fast. I don't see it happening. He's trying to avoid injuries. They're probably going to start managing him more as he gets into his 30s. But the upside is number 1 overall player, let's be honest. You don't have that much, I guess, in the second round. He's like the last player on this list that can have that upside realistically. And next we have Kyle Schwarber, who I love. Now, I don't know if you have him ranked this high, but in this format in which on base is king, and you have this kind of power, like I said, with Pete Alonso and Aaron Judge, those power hitters. You look at Kyle Schwarber, he finished 9th in expected WOBA last year, and the shift is going away, so you expect a higher on base because you're going to get more base hits, base knocks, you know what I'm saying? Which is going to lead to more runs, which is going to lead to more RBIs. Kyle Schwarber I'm in love with him. He's in his early 30s. Look at this red. It is dark freaking red on this. He strikes out, yes he does, but his walk percentage is elite. and he's just got that elite power. Now let's just check his shift stats, shall we? Let's see what happened. Yeah, okay, Woba no shift, 261, Woba with... Okay, so the shift actually helped him last year, 90% of the time, and it significantly helped him. That's interesting. The year prior, 2021, though, he was way better with no shift. So you see a little volatility with this the more you look into it. I think in general, it's going to help a left-handed slugger pull heavy, but we shall see. That is yet to be determined, but I'm in love with Kyle Schwarber because he's not going to kill you in on-base percentage, thanks to his walk rate, even with that ridiculously low average. You expect the average to come up, the on-base to come up. If that does, then he could be a top 10 finisher. For sure, Kyle Schwarber. I'm in love with Kyle Schwarber, and I feel like I may end up with him quite a bit. And then we have Corey Seager, who I love. It's well documented how he will benefit from no shift this year. His power came through last year, and he's young. It's just, Corey Seager could finish with huge numbers as well. I just feel very, very safe about Corey Seager. He's been healthy lately. That is another thing, though. He has been injured throughout his career quite a bit, so that's a thing. And then we finally have another pitcher. So as you can see, most of these are batters. We have Shohei doesn't count. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're down to our only fourth pitcher, all the way at 26. But so is the case in Dynasty. You got Shane O'Mac. Now, the case with Shane O'Mac is he is basically your best building block in Dynasty as a pitcher, barring injury. Now, he threw 166 innings last year in this breakout year. If Tyler Glasnow, well, I guess he's never even thrown that many innings, so I can't compare him to him, but just a left-handed thrower. He's not huge, but maybe the hardest thrower, left-hander of all time. Not that big. You do worry about the injuries, and last year down the stretch, he was fatigued or something. But his upside is tantalizing. It's all about risk-reward with Shane O'Mac. He could be number 1 or he could be number 201, depending on if he's healthy. The skill is undeniable, though. Michael Harris, he was all the way up here with Bobby Witt. I've had to just put him down the list. The thing with Michael Harris is I don't expect him to repeat last year's numbers. This is a great projection. If he does that, then he is going to be tremendous. But I don't think he's going to do that. Now with the ground ball rate that he displayed now, he's very fast, so he's going to get his base hits for sure. He hits the ball hard, but the power, that could plummet. I just think there's risk with Michael Harris, but the upside is still super high, so I think that's a fair ranking for him. He's still super young. He could be on your team for 10 years, or he could be one of those guys that kind of flames out, a la Jason Hayward. We all remember him. So I just don't know what to do with Michael Harris. I feel like you could wait on him have a down year and trade buy low on him next year. That's kind of the projection that I have for him. Rounding out the top 30, we got Brandon Woodruff, kind of just a safe pick. He's never thrown too many innings. This would be a career high if he threw 181 innings, actually. Kind of surprising. But his strikeouts are elite. He's going to give you good ratios. It's just kind of a safe pick. He hasn't had any major injuries, and so we all like Brandon Woodruff. Nothing crazy there. Then we have this player, Wander Franco. Now this is where it gets interesting because this is where you're really betting on the upside. So in a dynasty format last draft, he would have been probably top 2 round player. Now he's all the way, he was down at like the 40s, I believe, and I bumped him all the way back up to 29. I just think that he's such a skilled hitter. He does not strike out. He puts the ball in play. He runs fast. These are conservative estimates, but his counting stats could be ridiculous with super high batting average and on base as a result of the on batting average. He doesn't walk very much, so he's not going to get a 400 on base most likely unless he hits 330, which he could do. That's the thing. And if he hits 330, then everything's going up. And the power will probably take a while to develop. He's still so young. That's the thing. He got called up when he was 20. And so consensus number 1 overall prospect. I'm still in on Wander Franco. I'm buying low on him, even though I got him ranked higher than most. And then rounding up the top 30, you have Alec Manoah, who was absolutely ridiculous last year. Look at that. And 196 innings on a 2.24 ERA, a .99 WHIP, only 51 walks, and 180 strikeouts. So you get into this range of all these pitchers: Alec Manoah, Spencer Strider, Dylan Cease, Julio Urias, Shane Bieber. This is where you have all these basically these B+ starting pitchers. For dynasty purposes, you don't know which ones are going to perform the best in the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years. You're kind of just throwing it out there. So this could really be in whatever order you choose. We got Alec Manoah at 30th. He's young, elite ratios, and the thing is, he lasted last year. He pitched 191 innings. He didn't fade, so that was probably what separates him from the rest of these guys. Spencer Strider faded down the stretch. Dylan Cease did not, I don't think, but he has issues with command. Julio Urias does not have the strikeout potential, but it's all good. So that's my top 30. Tell me what you guys think. This is for an on-base percentage dynasty league, Sv+hlds, quality starts. I encourage you guys to really think about your scoring settings and messing with it a lot. I'm a traditionalist. I want traditional scoring. I don't want to get all analytical on here. It's fantasy. Let's keep it simple, stupid. At the same time, I think the game has moved past batting average so far long ago that it's only right to do on base. Same thing with Sv+hlds, and same thing with quality starts. Although no one really cares about the quality start stat. It's a 4.50 ERA. You can debate what a quality start actually looks like. However, for the purposes of fantasy, quality start means you went deep into the game and you didn't get blown up. And so you should be rewarded on that based on volume. If you do that every single time, I think that there's a huge distinction in fantasy on the players who can consistently deliver quality starts versus the pitchers that go 5 innings or that get blown up often and can't get that 6 innings, 3 earned runs. So cumulatively, I think it'll be a huge impact in a positive way having quality starts instead of wins, which is just so volatile. At least quality start, you have to be quality, right? And so that is my top 30 for this type of scoring system. Tell me what you guys think of this type of scoring system. If you like it, if you don't like it, if you want to go traditional or not. It really doesn't matter. It's all good. Thanks for watching, and we'll be posting a lot of... I got some food in my teeth. Oh. We'll be posting a lot of videos throughout the year talking fantasy. I love fantasy baseball, and it's just my passion. So without further ado, thank you for watching, and see you next time.